We arrived at St Monans in the early afternoon. The tide had passed its peak and started to recede. The small village of St Monans was once known for its salt panning industry and fishing. You can still see fishing boats doing their rounds out on the Firth of Forth. We parked up next to the old kirk, St Monans Church of Scotland. According to one legend, the name of St Monans comes from the hermit Monan, who built a cell nearby in the 9th century. He was killed by Vikings and a shrine was built in his honour. Pilgrims came to see the shrine and people began to settle here. Usually the credit for building the church is given to King David II, who was saved from a storm on the nearby coast in the 14th century and built a church here out of gratitude. But another story tells of King David I being wounded by an arrow and being healed by the monks of St Monans and building a chapel here in the 11th century. Perhaps both of them were involved in their own time. You can also see the Isle of May, which used to be the site of a priory in the Middle Ages, but is now a birdwatcher's paradise. You can only get there as part of a boat tour though. We slowly wandered along the shore towards our next destination, the ruins of Newark Castle. First, we came past the Ducot or Dovecot. It's also known as a columbarium in Latin, and it simply contains a space with pigeonholes, allowing pigeons or doves to nest. Newark Castle itself is likely built on the remains of a 13th century castle built by Sir Alan Durward. His wife was the half-sister of King Alexander III, who reportedly spent his childhood at the couple's castle in St Monans. In the 15th century, the property passed to Sir John Kinloch, who may have rebuilt the existing structure, or he may have built a new one. In the 16th century, it passed to the Sandiland family and was extended. And it changed hands once more in 1649, when it was sold to David Leslie, a general in the Scottish Covenanters army. After spending years in prison, David Leslie returned to live out his life in the castle until 1682. He was likely the one who added many of the features still remaining today. The castle was used as a residence until the 19th century and then abandoned. Due to erosion of the rock, it continues to slowly slip into the sea, so caution is advised when approaching it. After seeing the castle, we continued along the coast. By now the tide had receded quite a bit and left behind many little pools with lots of interesting maritime wildlife. What did you find? Insects.
Sorry, I scared him away.
Oh.
But you can see the shrimp just sort of like...
Mm.
There's there's loads of stuff in here. Because I was walking along and it was all this movement. And the rust probably hiding.
Of course.
You can see them, yeah. Oh, is that a sea anemone?
A what?
Sea anemone.
Sea anemone.
Yeah.
That looks so interesting. I think I found another one of these. It's got little tentacles.
If you put your finger onto the edge of the tentacles, they'll like sting you.
Oh.
But it doesn't hurt you or anything like that. It's just that's their way of defending themselves.
Oh, did you see that?
Yeah. Is it stinging like, or?
I don't know, it doesn't feel like anything. Oh, it's...
Yeah.
So funny.
Leave it alone.
Okay. Shall leave it alone. I think I found another one. So cute. I love the way this rock looks. It's just leaning into it. Eventually, we came to the ruins of Ardross Castle, of which there is a lot less left than Newark Castle. But it's also not as precarious, so I couldn't resist to climb up the wall to get a good look from above. first mention of the Ardross estate is in the late 12th century, but after passing through several hands, it was Sir William Dishington, Sheriff of Fife, who received it in 1368 and decided to build a castle in the spot. He was married to the sister of Robert the Bruce, or King Robert I of Scotland. Apparently he also funded the construction of St Monans Church for David II. The castle passed through multiple hands with some alterations, but when it was sold to Sir William Anstruther in 1690, many of the castle stones were reused to build a new mansion nearby. Ardross Castle has been a ruin ever since. Not far from Ardross Castle begins Ladies' Tower Beach, and I used the opportunity to walk barefoot on the sand for a while. I have to say the sand is fairly grainy. If you want a beach with lovely soft sand, I recommend Tensmuir Beach in Fife. From this part of the coastal path of Fife, you can see all the way across the Firth of Forth towards Bass Rock and North Berwick Law, which has an Iron Age hill fort on top. Exiting the beach, we came to Lady Janet Anstruther's Tower. This tower was built for Lady Janet Anstruther in 1770. She was the daughter of a Scottish merchant and renowned for her beauty. She would use the tower as a viewpoint and change in the cave below to go for a swim. But first, a bell was rang in the nearby town Elie by her servants to alert the residents to not come too close to the beach while Lady Janet was bathing. From here, you already get a very clear view of Edinburgh. Lastly, we walked past Elie Ness Lighthouse. It was David Allen Stevenson who suggested this lighthouse should be built. He was the son of David Stevenson, one of the two brothers who built the impossible lighthouse on Muckle Flugga, which we saw on a trip to Shetland. Construction of the lighthouse started in 1907 and finished in 1908. A journey ended in Elie, and we were given a lift back to our car. I hope you have enjoyed coming on this coastal walk with me. If you did, I'd be happy if you give me a thumbs up. And if you want to support the channel, that would also be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time.